The 2024 Paris Olympics, a stage for dreams, a place for athletic greatness. It's where legends are made, and occasionally where dreams go to die spectacularly. This is the Raygun Olympics disaster. Rachel Gunn, Australia's top-ranked B-girl, arrived in Paris with high hopes. An expert in her field, a lecturer at Macquarie University, and a PhD holder. She was ready to show the world what she had. Little did she know, the world was about to show her something too. Maybe it was the ugly, green tracksuit. Maybe it was the dance moves themselves. Whatever it wasn't Olympic gold. It was, to put it mildly, a train wreck. The internet exploded. Memes were born, jokes were cracked. Raygun went viral, but not in the way one hopes for on the world stage. Her performance became synonymous with failure. How did this happen? How did someone so qualified fail so spectacularly? One thing's for sure, undeserved self-confidence was definitely a factor. Raygun ditched traditional moves for something she claimed was artistic, mostly because she doesn't know how to perform traditional moves. And no, I'm not just making this up. She literally made a statement about this herself. According to her, she genuinely doesn't know how to do tried and true breakdancing.
But what could have possibly happened on a personal and organizational level to allow this caliber of performance stand up at the Olympics? I got obsessed with this question. Is this a marketing play? Is it some kind of prank? Or is this someone who actually believes that they belong at the Olympics and somehow slip through the system?
Yeah, I'm working on new combos. I'm trying to, because one of my weaknesses has been dynamics, so I've been trying to get a lot more dynamic moves, a lot more freezes and power moves. Some of the stuff that's more Jeff's specialty, J-Attack's specialty. So whereas mine has been style and creativity and musicality, so I'm trying to kind of round out my repertoire a bit.
Her moves were different, like a kick in the shins is different from a gentle caress. Artistic, like a toddler's finger painting. Australia reacts from bewilderment to outrage. As Raygun's performance made its way across the internet at the speed of light, a collective groan could be heard from the land down under. Australians, known for their love of sport and their even greater love of not being embarrassed on the world stage, were left speechless.
Look, I'm as ready to applaud someone having a go as the next person, but that doesn't mean that every child must win a prize. I mean, all credit to our magnificent Olympian team. It's bringing back a record swag of medals, but a dud performance is a dud performance. There's no point pretending otherwise. I mean, breakdancing was one of those new sports introduced to us at Paris. At best, it's a cross between dancing and gymnastics. What you can see there is some brilliant people at a recent Red Bull competition. That's what it's supposed to look like. Unfortunately, our competitor, Rachel Gunn, a 36-year-old university lecturer, who wrote her thesis on gender in Sydney's breakdancing scene, well, she got precisely 0 points in 3 rounds of competition.
This quickly gave way to outrage. How could this happen? Who let this happen? And perhaps most importantly, who is going to pay for the therapy required after witnessing such a thing? The questions were endless, the answers elusive. One thing was clear. Raygun had gone from Olympic hopeful to national disgrace faster than you can say the words no talent. As the dust settled on Raygun's Olympic debacle, Australians, still reeling from the spectacle they had just witnessed, began to ask the tough questions. Chief among them, how did she get there? How did someone with zero grasp on the basic principles of breakdancing manage to represent an entire nation at the Olympics? The answer, it turned out, lay in her so-called education and the fact that Australia was desperate for someone to step up to fill the role of a qualifier for the Olympics.
She is the best breakdancer female that we have for Australia.
You can see in this comment here, someone who was literally there when Raygun qualified for the Olympics admits that even though she was terrible, there was no one else, and that she actually won the qualifier that day. That's how little talent there was at the qualifier. Anyway, Raygun isn't just a breakdancer. She is a quote-unquote highly educated PhD holding expert in the field. Yes, you heard that right. And that goes to show you how much of a joke college is.
This person is a teacher. They're shaping the minds of the next generation of leaders. Look, I don't know how many leaders are going to be studying dance theory, to be fair in her defence, but this is not a serious person. If you're going to go up there and say that your skill in breakdancing is due to your musicality, it's absurd. And I do not believe that this was the best that Australia had to offer. Call me cynical, but I don't understand how she managed to win that qualification round. And I watched it. It did not seem like a fair competition to me.
This woman, whose dance moves could best be described as a cry for help disguised as performance art, had written a thesis on breakdancing. As crazy as it sounds, this woman's research was actually funded by taxpayers.
What a waste of taxpayers' money.
I do not believe. First, can I just say that anybody who uses the word musicality in an interview and then talking about their skill in the way, I mean, she's got tickets on herself. She genuinely thinks that she is all there, that she's a great breakdancer. I mean, for me, it honestly isn't even about the dancing. It's the fact that it's the academic work. It's the fact that you've got somebody saying sportification, musicality, and you're putting this into work to try and convince people that your work is worth being funded and it's worth being studied. If you're going to go up there and say that your skill in breakdancing is due to your musicality, it's absurd.
Raygun's academic credentials did little to quell the outrage. It only added fuel to the fire. Australians already struggling with a cost of living crisis were bloody pissed. The details of Raygun's taxpayer-funded research were like salt in the wound. Her PhD thesis, titled The Intersection of Gender and Sydney's Breaking Culture, had received generous government funding. The same government that was telling Australians to tighten their belts had funded this research. The irony was not lost on anyone.
Australian breakdancer Raygun has taken the world by storm after her colourful and imaginative performance at the Paris Olympics on the weekend. So how on earth did we get here?
36-year-old Rachel Gunn, aka Raygun, has a PhD in dance culture, lectures at Macquarie University, and has been breakdancing for 12 years.
I just never thought that I would be going to the Olympics.
After clinching her spot in Paris by winning the Oceania Breaking Championship last year, the underdog knew she had to get creative.
Do you have like a secret weapon move?
Got a few things I'm working on.
When her time came, Raygun delivered. In her Aussie green and gold trackies, we saw a kangaroo hop, the sprinkler, headstands, and all of it earned her exactly 0 points from the judges. But as it does, the internet bubbled and churned, with millions chiming in to tear shreds off Raygun's unique style.
Australia just set breakdancing back 40 years.
How did she make it this far? She became a meme, and cruel comparisons were made between her and TV's Kath Day-Night, Liz Lemon, Elaine Benez, and worst of all, Mr. G.
Raygun, the self-proclaimed breakdancing expert, achieved global humiliation. She used her academic knowledge to craft the worst breakdancing routine ever. Social media had a field day. Memes compared her moves to seizures and malfunctioning robots. The hashtag RaygunGate trended nationwide, uniting Australians in bewilderment. Raygun's response is basically doubling down on delusion. And don't get it twisted, a lot of people will say that she apologized. She never apologized. She simply made a statement, that is all. In the face of this unprecedented public backlash, Raygun did what any self-aware, woke liberal would do. She doubled down. In a series of increasingly bizarre social media posts, she defended her performance, her research, and her right to represent Australia on the world stage. Her haters, she claimed, were simply jealous of her talent and her intellect. They couldn't handle her unique style, her artistic vision. They were stuck in the past with outdated notions of what breakdancing should be.
I just want to start by thanking all the people who have supported me. I really appreciate the positivity, and I'm glad I was able to bring some joy into your lives. That's what I hoped. I didn't realize that that would also open the door to so much hate, which has frankly been pretty devastating.
In the comments to her post on Instagram, she received a mixed response from viewers. Miss Raygun, I need your confidence in life, one stated. Another wrote, the whole world is laughing at you right now. Never watched breaking before, but I can already tell Raygun doesn't have a chance in this event. I did some of the same moves this morning when I was vacuuming under the bed. Yet, the world, she declared, was just not ready for a breakdancing genius like herself. We've seen it time and time again, folks. As technology gets better, people get more and more lazy, original ideas get lost, true talents go out the window, and everyone wants a trophy no matter how little the effort. Rather than taking accountability for doing the worst job that she possibly could, Raygun literally said that she gave it her all.
I did take it very seriously. I worked my butt off preparing for the Olympics, and I gave my all, truly.
Let's all give her a hand and help her right into the carriage set to take her to the loony bin. Raygun's delusions of grandeur might have flown in the face of reality, but the internet, as it always does, swooped in to deliver a healthy dose of truth, or at least a healthy dose of memes. The moment her performance hit the digital airwaves, it became the internet's plaything, a blank canvas for the collective comedic genius of the World Wide Web. Raygun's image was plastered across every corner of the internet. Her signature moves, the ones she likely practiced in her bedroom mirror with a misplaced sense of pride, were now the source of endless amusement for millions. The mockery wasn't limited to the internet ether. Raygun's performance became a national talking point, a shared experience that transcended age, social status, and even political affiliation. For a brief, shining moment, Australians were united, not by a shared sense of national pride, but by a shared sense of what in the bloody hell did we just watch. Talk shows couldn't get enough of it, late-night comedians had struck comedic gold, and even the most mundane water cooler conversation led to Raygun's spectacular failure. It was as if the entire nation had collectively decided to embrace the cringe, to find solace in the shared experience of witnessing something so spectacularly, hilariously bad. Raygun, for her part, seemed oblivious to the storm she had created. Her social media, once a carefully curated collection of inspirational quotes and self-congratulatory posts about her research, became a digital dumpster fire, overflowing with scathing comments, mocking memes, and calls for her to hang up her apparently very loose dancing shoes. But the real-world consequences were starting to pile up. Sponsors, once eager to be associated with the academically accomplished B-girl, were now distancing themselves faster than you could say brand suicide. Her university, once proud to boast about her research, suddenly seemed less keen on highlighting her affiliation with the institution. The calls for accountability grew louder. Politicians jumped on the Raygun bashing bandwagon, taxpayers demanding to know how their money ended up funding this national embarrassment. The Australian Olympic Committee, already reeling from the PR disaster, launched an internal investigation into the athlete selection process. Rumors swirled about nepotism, rigged competitions, and the possibility that Raygun had somehow hypnotized the judges with her bizarre dance moves.
Well, there's a conspiracy theory of sorts emerging as to why the performance was so awful. Some are claiming she aimed to get 0 points for every performance, and it was a part of her academic studies. Professor Megan Davis, one of the chief advocates of the Voice referendum, the Voice to Parliament, she took to social media to slam the Olympian, saying getting 0 points on purpose in 3 rounds for an academic study subsidised by the taxpayer, both at a university and Olympic level, isn't funny and isn't having a go. It's disrespectful to other competitors. I'm glad most Aussies aren't buying the Kool-Aid. Now, Jack, she had her trip, obviously, to Paris paid for by taxpayers, but I don't see how she's going to get any extra money for her academic work by getting zeros. I'm not on board with that theory at all. But it must be noted, the Daily Telegraph reports that the City of Sydney Council also gave Raygun a $20,000 grant back in 2022 to research spaces for street dance. So I guess there is some taxpayer dollars to be had.
The truth, as it often is, was far less interesting, but in the court of public opinion, Raygun had already been tried, convicted, and sentenced to a lifetime of ridicule, and rightfully so. This woman and her so-called credentials are a complete embarrassment to all humanity. Don't worry, Australia, the entire world feels your pain. As the nation grappled with the Raygun phenomenon, a new question emerged. Was this all part of an elaborate plan? Had Raygun orchestrated her own downfall for some nefarious purpose? The internet went into overdrive with conspiracy theories. Some whispered that Raygun bombed her performance to expose flaws in the Olympic selection process. Others claimed she was a double agent sent to sabotage Australia's chances. Fueling the conspiracy theories was the mysterious figure of Raygun's husband, Samuel Free, himself a prominent figure in the Australian breakdancing scene. Rumors swirled that Free, a qualified judge for breakdancing competitions, had somehow influenced the selection process in his wife's favor. The evidence, as is often the case in these situations, was circumstantial at best. Yes, Free had been present at the qualifying event where Raygun secured her spot on the Olympic team, and yes, he was supportive of his wife's pathetic excuse for breakdancing.
We've learned that Raygun is coached by her husband, who is also a breaker. I think we've got some footage of his moves. I think he's had a bit to do with some of the choreography we saw in Paris. What do you think of his dance moves? Could this be the problem? Does she need a better coach, perhaps?
I think she was trying to be overly creative because she knew she's not as skilled as the other dancers. But by trying to be so creative without the skill makes you look very goofy in breakdancing. It just completely falls apart.
But was that enough to prove collusion? The internet, of course, didn't need much to go on. Caught in the crosshairs of the Raygun scandal was AUS Breaking, the governing body for breakdancing in Australia. Accusations of corruption, nepotism, and a blatant disregard for basic standards of competence were hurled at the organization from all sides. The pressure mounted for AUS Breaking to provide answers to explain how Raygun, of all people, had been chosen to represent Australia on the world stage. The organization, already struggling to maintain its credibility in the wake of the Raygun debacle, found itself in damage control mode, issuing carefully worded statements that did little to quell the public outcry. As the Raygun saga reached a fever pitch, the woman at the center of the storm finally broke her silence. But instead of offering a heartfelt apology or even a semblance of contrition, Raygun doubled down on the very qualities that had made her an object of national ridicule.
That anybody who uses the word musicality in an interview and then talking about their skill in the way, I mean, she's got tickets on herself. She genuinely thinks that she is all there, that she's a great breakdancer. I mean, for me, it honestly isn't even about the dancing. It's the fact that it's the academic work. It's the fact that you've got somebody saying sportification, musicality, and you're putting this into work to try and convince people that your work is worth being funded and it's worth being studied. But this is not a serious person. If you're going to go up there and say that your skill in breakdancing is due to your musicality, it's absurd.
She's trying to be overly creative because she knew she's not as skilled as the other dancers.
Her unwavering belief in her own talent and her complete inability to read the room. "Don't be afraid to be different," she proclaimed in a cryptic Instagram post, accompanying a photo of herself mid-routine, seemingly oblivious to the fact that she looked like a confused toddler trying to swat a fly. The post predictably went viral, but not in the way Raygun might have hoped. In the bizarre ecosystem of the internet, Raygun's tone-deaf defense had an unexpected effect. It attracted a small but vocal group of woke liberal supporters, all of them 150,000% vaccinated, and boosted ensuring perfect clarity, these digital warriors rallying under the banner of artistic freedom and body positivity rushed to Raygun's defense, accusing her critics of being bullies, haters, and worst of all, conformists.
I'm as ready to applaud someone having a go as the next person, but that doesn't mean that every child must win a prize. I mean, all credit to our magnificent Olympian team that's bringing back a record swag of medals, but a dud performance is a dud performance. There's no point pretending otherwise. Unfortunately, our competitor, Rachel Gunn, a 36-year-old university lecturer who wrote her thesis on gender in Sydney's breakdancing scene, well, she got precisely 0 points in 3 rounds of competition. But anyone who says that she's a pretty ordinary performer, well, those criticisms have been called out as misogyny. Now, come on, if we want to compete female or male even, you've got to accept the umpire's decision and the views of those who watch what you do. Former Socceroo Craig Foster has hit out at it and said that anyone who's criticising Gunn is un-Australian. Now give me a break, any way you cut it, her performances were crap. How on earth did she even qualify? But if you listen to the Prime Minister, she's a role model, he says, who should be praised for having a crack. Now come on, I thought the whole point of the Olympics was to celebrate competition, not mere participation. What a waste of taxpayers' money. And what a cheap shot to claim justifiable criticism isn't allowed because Gunn's a woman. I mean, that's embarrassing to all the magnificent other female athletes who have excelled.
She's a strong, independent woman who dared to be herself on the world stage, declared one particularly ardent supporter, seemingly overlooking the fact that being herself involved a series of dance moves that would have gotten her laughed out of a community center talent show.
Now let's have a look at woke academic and breakdancer Raygun, the woman who scored 0 for all her dances at the Paris Games. But we're told she's the best female breakdancer in Australia, and to say otherwise is sexist trolling. Here's the Australia's Olympic Committee's Anna Mears.
With trolls and keyboard warriors and taking those comments and giving them airtime has been really disappointing. If you don't know Rachel's story, in 2008 she was locked in a room crying, being involved in a male-dominated sport as the only woman, and it took great courage for her to continue on and fight for her opportunity to participate in a sport that she loved, and that got her to winning the Olympic qualifying event to be here in Paris. She is the best breakdancer female that we have for Australia.
I'm not sure if she's even the best breakdancer in her family, but let's hear from the woman herself.
I could be representing Australia. It would be an amazing opportunity and just something I never thought would happen.
But Rachel is even more excited for the next generation of B-boys and B-girls.
Already there's a lot more family support for people to get in breaking, because I know people of my generation and earlier, you know, their families were generally like, what are you doing? Why are you wasting your time with this?
You should listen to your family, indeed. Listen to anyone telling you not to do this. Listen to those people, please. But Raygun has always had supreme confidence in her abilities. Just ask her.
I think my understanding of musicality going into breaking was very strong. My body awareness, my coordination, my eye for technique has been much stronger going into the dance.
And you can understand why she may be a tad delusional, because she kept getting plaudits and awards despite having no discernible dancing ability.
The winner of Sports Star of the Year is Rachel Gunn. Wowzers, thank you so much. I think it is just so cool that a breaker has won Sports Star of the Year.
Wow, how did she ever qualify for the Games? I mean, look at that. You know what? Maybe we can blame her coach, Samuel Free, aka Sammy the Free, who is also her husband and a fellow breaker. Check out these moves. I think we know where some of that choreography came from. Goodness me, but don't you dare mock any of that, because Australian Sports Commission CEO Kieran Perkins will call you a keyboard warrior.
And all of the commentary and the dialogue that's gone on, you know, all the keyboard warriors and haters out of there, get back in your box. We are Australia, we are Australian. To have one of our athletes so proud to wear our uniform and then to bring what's unique about us to the international stage, we should all be proud. It was an awesome event. It was a great display of different thinking, and, you know, I'm a huge Raygun fan. She has made us all proud.
Made you proud, Kieran? Made the rest of us laugh? Fancy trying to bully Australians into not having a laugh over something so obviously absurd. Give it a spell.
The Australian breaking scene responds. But within the tight-knit community of Australian breakdancers, the reaction to Raygun's performance and her subsequent non-apology was far more nuanced. While many were quick to condemn the online abuse and ridicule, there was also a sense of disappointment, a feeling that she had misrepresented their art form on the world stage. It was embarrassing, admitted one veteran b-boy. We worked so hard to be taken seriously, to show the world breakdancing is a legitimate art form. And then she goes out there and does that. The irony, of course, was that Raygun, the self-proclaimed expert on breakdancing culture, had inadvertently done more to damage the reputation of the art form than any of her critics could have ever dreamed of. Her performance, forever immortalized in countless memes and viral videos, had become synonymous with everything that non-dancers thought breakdancing was: awkward, embarrassing, and ultimately ridiculous.
The world is going to think Australians can't dance. I mean, that's what I'm worried about, because they're all making fun of us. Who could blame them?
The Australian Olympic Committee, desperate to distance themselves from the Raygun debacle, quietly announced that breakdancing would not be included in the 2028 Olympics. And just like that, Raygun's 15 minutes of fame were up, leaving behind a legacy of cringe conspiracy theories and a whole lot of unanswered questions. While Raygun retreated into the shadows, clinging to her delusions of artistic grandeur, the Australian breakdancing community was left to pick up the pieces. The fallout from her disastrous performance was swift and brutal, particularly for the women who had dedicated their lives to a dance form that had suddenly become synonymous with ridicule. "It's been devastating," confided one young B-girl, her voice barely a whisper. "We're getting harassed online, mocked in public. People look at us differently now, like we're a joke." The very act of dancing, once a source of joy and empowerment, had become fraught with anxiety and fear. Silence and fear overwhelmed the community. The fear was palpable, a dark cloud hanging over the once vibrant Australian breakdancing scene. Young dancers who were once eager to showcase their skills in public now hesitated, their confidence shaken by the specter of Raygun's humiliation. The internet, which had once been a platform for sharing their passion, had become a breeding ground for hate and ridicule. "People are scared to speak out," revealed another B-girl, her face etched with worry. They're afraid of becoming the next Raygun, of being ridiculed and ostracized. The silence was deafening, a testament to the toxic power of cyberbullying and the chilling effect it can have on an entire community. And all thanks to one stupid moron. The Australian breakdancing community, once a vibrant tapestry, diverse styles and personalities, was now grappling with a crisis of identity. How could they move forward from this? How could they reclaim their art form from the clutches of Raygun's cringe-inducing legacy? The answer, as with most things, lay in unity and resilience. "We need to support each other," urged one veteran b-boy, his voice filled with determination. "We need to show the world that Raygun doesn't represent us, that Australian breakdancing is about passion, creativity, and skill." The message resonated, a beacon of hope in a sea of uncertainty. Slowly but surely, the Australian breakdancing scene is healing, with dancers determined to redefine what it means to be a b-boy or b-girl. They refuse to be defined by Raygun's past mistakes. The internet is playing a role in this healing process. Positive stories highlighting the talent, dedication, and joy of the breakdancing community. Celebrating the artistry and athleticism of breakdancing, reclaiming the narrative. Raygun's Olympic journey, or perhaps more accurately, her Olympic misadventure, serves as a cautionary reminder that even the best intentions can sometimes pave the road to disaster, especially when those intentions are paved with a healthy dose of delusion and a complete lack of self-awareness. Her legacy, forever etched in the annals of internet infamy, is a testament to the enduring power of cringe, the double-edged sword of social media, and the importance of knowing when to laugh at yourself, even when the entire world is laughing at you. But amidst the wreckage of Raygun's Olympic dreams, a glimmer of hope emerges. The Australian breakdancing community, bruised but not broken, has shown remarkable resilience, using the experience as a catalyst for growth, a call to action to reclaim their art form and redefine its narrative. The road to redemption, however, is a long and winding one. The scars of Raygun's performance run deep, a constant reminder of the fragility of reputation in the age of social media, where one misstep can have far-reaching and unintended consequences. As the dust settles on the Raygun situation, Australian breakdancing stands at a crossroads. The path forward is clear: embrace authenticity, celebrate diversity, and never ever let anyone tell you that the sprinkler is an acceptable breakdancing move. The future of Australian breakdancing is bright, but it will take courage, determination, and a healthy dose of self-awareness.